For whatever reason, I'm struggling getting this plastic to look fresh and crispy. You can see right here, it's nice and shiny, but it's like hazy in the middle. And this one, pretty much the same. It's a little bit better, but also hazy. If you guys are following the Z400 series, I got this brand new with the other plastics for this Z400. And for whatever reason, this one piece, it just doesn't look like the rest of the plastics. Let's put it up next to it. I don't know. It's kind of tough for this camera to pick it up. But if you look at these plastics are like showroom glossy, as they should be. It was almost $1,300 for all the plastics on this thing. And then this piece is kind of hazy. Like it almost looks like somebody rode the quad, and that's like little scuff marks from somebody's knees rubbing up against the tank. I don't know why it's like that. Contacted the company, and they agreed that it didn't look right. So they ordered a second one to replace it. And the second one, this is actually the second one. It looks exactly like the first one did. And the reason that this first one here is a little bit less glossy is because I actually tried to polish it myself, and I botched it really bad. There was a spot down here. I wish I took a picture. I just like basically took the buffing wheel to it, and it freaking destroyed it. And I used the Prime MX kit from Cameron Niemela to get it to where it is now. And it looks good. It just doesn't have that super gloss. And for whatever reason, I'm really struggling to get these to shine up the way that I got the other plastics. We did the black plastics on the shock. We did this little cross piece on the front. That came out, literally looks like brand new. And the headlight, you know, that's plastic too. That cleaned up like brand new. And then these plastic pieces in here cleaned up really nice. So I know that the kit works well. I don't know if this plastic in particular is, you know, maybe it was like a bad batch or something. But the dealer that I ordered these from, they were pretty cool, and they actually tried to buff it themselves. But this was the best they could get it. And they sent me a second one free of charge so that I could mess with it and try to polish it. And at least, you know, if I totally botch up that one, I've got a second one that I can work with. So at least that's good. But I mean, these are brand new plastics, and we want it to match the rest of the set. So we're going to have to see if we can get these good and clear. You can see this side was really nice. I've got the graphics on there from Graphics Producer. They look awesome, dude. I'm so stoked, dude. I just think this looks so good. And then I also put the warning decals on here. Very, very nice. Again, you know, I know people are going to be like, oh, get rid of those things. But we're going for OEM, so really it came out nice. And I think my goal, my idea is, you know, we might just have to try a different method to polish those plastics. And my older method of using like polishing compound and rubbing compound, that usually gets the job done. It just can be kind of messy. But what I think the problem is, working with that plastic, it's kind of flopping all over the place, and I can't, it's too soft and malleable to like clamp it down. I feel like I'll damage it. I think if I mount it, we'll be able to work with the polishing tool a little bit easier. And we'll see if we can get it nice and crispy. The one I'm going to try to make perfect is the one that's a little bit more hazy. This was the first one that came that had the botch from me that I fixed. And we'll leave this one as the emergency fail-safe because it looks pretty good. And plus, when the graphics are on there, a lot of that hazy area is going to be covered. So this will be our fail-safe. Let's go ahead and put this one on the quad. You'll notice it says you got the R on the back, indicating that it's the right side. But if you guys look close, you can actually see little score marks. See if the camera will pick that up. Oh, there, you can kind of see it. See, there's like a square, and then there should be one right here. And there is another one right there. And what those are, from the factory, they have those there for, I guess, like manufacturing purposes. And they've got these little foam pieces that stick on the back and rest on the fuel tank. And I think it gives a little bit of stability to the plastics so they're not just kind of floating around and, you know, like slapping against the tank when things are moving around. It's like a little buffer. And those score marks, I think, were for the manufacturing. So whoever the technician was, they don't have to think about where they go. They've got a template of where all these pieces go. Pretty cool. Well, not really. But I just thought it was somewhat neat. I wanted to show you guys that. So I'm going to clean the back off here so the adhesive sticks real good. As good as it can anyways. And these little buffer pads. They are brand new OEM, straight from Partzilla.com. If you guys haven't noticed, Partzilla is, they've become my #1 source for OEM parts. They really are great though, and I've been using them forever. Oh. Great adhesive. Maybe it was didn't dry the Windex just yet. This is just like no tack on this. Not a problem because I've got 3M industrial strength. So now if we ever want to remove it, we won't have a choice. It's going to be on there forever. I'm sure at the factory that 3M stuff is the same stuff that they used when they came across this exact scenario. All the other ones stuck just fine. Maybe that was like a really old one, new old stock. You got to remember the Z400. They haven't made this thing in like over 10 years, and this particular one is 20 years old. So there's probably a lot of these parts that are coming brand new. They're new old stock and adhesive and stuff like that. Sometimes it just doesn't work anymore, obviously. So we'll bolt this thing up. And like I said, that should make it a lot easier for buffing. And probably it's not as hard to get this thing shiny as I think, because again, when you're working with a moving piece, it can just, any kind of sanding or buffing or polishing is just exponentially more difficult when you don't have control. Okay, just trust me. I feel like now that it's mounted up, you can kind of see that haziness a little bit better. But again, the camera, sometimes like it can be really difficult to get the camera to pick things up that you can see in person. Just like a lot of, they say like YouTube builds, they're not really, they're for the camera builds. Like when you see them in person, they're not that nice. I would like to think that mine are in for real person. But people that have seen them in person, at least when they're still crispy, because you know sometimes after I'm done riding, they don't look all that great until they're washed up again. But people have told me that they're really, really nice in person. So I like to think that mine are really nice. But if this was going to be just a video build, probably no one would ever notice this hazy piece of plastic. But I'm not cool with that, man. So we got to make this thing perfect. Putting this tape on here because just in case we do like a total botch job of buffing, I'm sure the buffing wheel will come up here and possibly hit this piece of plastic. And since this front fender is perfect, we don't want to go, messing that one up too. So this way we've got a little bit of control. The only control I have in my life is painting tape. The rest of it is just totally out of control. All right, now as far as Workspace goes, we're going to have to work around our engine because I am currently building the Z400 engine, and I will have an update on that in this video. For now, we'll just slide this over. I had talked about these trays. This is exactly what I was talking about. It really makes like moving things around just really convenient. It's quite nice, if I might say so myself. It just makes things easier. And who doesn't want things to be easier? Because life can be kind of hard, if I'm being honest. Okay, so this is the kit that I plan to use. It's not actually a Cobalt, which is a brand that people have made fun of me for using in the first place. But we're actually going to go a tier lower to the Spitza. I found this on Amazon. It's actually a really nice kit. It's like a fake Milwaukee. In fact, the other one that I had was red, and I gave that one to a friend. And then I upgraded to the Spitza Make Car Care Easy 2.0, and that one was gray. And basically, it was the same damn thing, but it came with more attachments. Look at all this shit. The Cobalt bag was just convenient for keeping this together because Spitza does not include a carry kit. They just give you these premium Ziploc bags. But it comes with a lot of like really cool cleaning stuff, and these are the buffing pads. I used this on the Blaster. If you guys remember the Blaster plastic restoration, it worked really, really well on that. And that was white plastics. And I'm learning, you know, I'm still a newbie when it comes to plastic restoration, but every piece of plastic is not the same. So like that prime kit, like I said, worked really well on the other stuff, but for some reason, it's not really it didn't do as great on the side panel. Don't know why, but we'll go ahead and try the traditional method, and we'll use this and then some rubbing and buffing compound and some plastics, maybe polishing compound for plastic. All right, so I'm going to start with this rubbing compound. It's the liquid form. They do make it in tubs also, which I have right here. This stuff, I kind of like the tubs better. I feel like it's like a heavier compound and has more grit in it. But it's dried out, unfortunately. So we'll use the liquid. I'm going to put like, not too much, because this stuff slings everywhere. And just going to see what happens, I guess. You know, that's all we can do in life. I'll just spread this around a little bit. And this might end up being like a time lapse, because it might take some time. I don't know. I find it really hard to like do a small area. You know how they say like do a test area on an inconspicuous area, it usually says in the instructions. I feel like I'm just like, I want the whole thing done immediately, and it just never works out that well. Like people that do entire cars, the patience and skill that those people have, man, like I wish I had that, because I mean, bodywork is just, to me, it's incredible. It's like an art. But definitely having the panel mounted like this, it's a little bit more bearable than working with the piece of plastic just floating around. That is after 2 coats of the rubbing compound, maybe 5 minutes each, and you can see it has a really even texture. So I think all of the imperfections are out, even the microscopic scratches. It's just kind of hazy. I wonder if waxing it is the answer, because when we did the blaster plastics, I actually used some Mother's. It was like mag aluminum polish, and that worked amazing. Brought the shine out really, really nice. If that's the case, we might be closer than we think. In the middle of polishing this, I just got a text from Chuck at Bonehead Performance, and the wheels for the Z400 are done. It is literally the last thing for this project. Today is Friday, so they're closed on the weekend, and it's almost 5 o'clock. I'm going to head over there right now, grab the wheels, and we will check those out in this video. But yeah, let's get back to polishing. Oh, man. There they are. Screw it. We'll just check them out right now. Look at the finish. They came out really, really nice. It is a matte clear powder coat. So speaking with Chuck over at Bonehead Performance, he told me that ceramic coating does not adhere well to vapor blasted surfaces. So he could have done it, but it would have chipped off and completely ruined the purpose of coating these to protect them. So the clear made it so that you can see all of the details and everything, because a lot of times powder coating, you know, like with VIN numbers and stuff, all the details go away, but you can see the imprint, those DID Japan marks and everything. They are still perfectly visible. They look really, really good, and it's more of a finish like the classic quad racers. They had that kind of matte silver as opposed to the shinier wheels like on the later Z400s. So for the retro build, they're going to look awesome. I can't wait to get the tires and stuff on there. We'll put the tire shine on, get some new valve stems in there, and then to see them with the blue hubs. Oh man, they're just, it's going to be freaking sweet, dude. I can't wait. All right, I'm going to get back to it here. I'm going to put a softer pad on, and we're going to use some rubbing compound. Rubbing compound is a little, oh wait, not rubbing compound. We want polishing compound. We already did the rubbing compound. The polishing compound is like going to a finer sandpaper, basically, and it'll bring up the shine a little bit with hope. This is the paste version in the can. Like I said, I like this better than the squirt bottles. I just think that it works better. I just kind of smear it on there, and then I'll work it into the pad and do the same thing like I did with the rubbing compound. It's so shiny. Just kidding. It pretty much looks the same. It is definitely a nice even texture though. So I think I'm going to try the wax. All right, I've got the softest brush or foam pad on here, and we're going to use some Brazilian car wax cleaner wax. So not only will it be shiny, it should be clean too. Mother's is a good brand though. Not doing it on a small inconspicuous area. I have a feeling that this is going to work. I don't know why. I've used this before, and it's worked magic. Again, the Mother's name is just so good. It's not that great. Come on. All right. All right, now I'm going to buff it off with this super soft pad. Woo! Static. I just cannot seem to get this to shine the way I want. I don't see like any imperfections. It looks really good. It's just not shining. All right, I've had it. If I were my subscribers and I were watching this video, I'd be saying, Mike, why don't you get Meguiar's Mirror Glaze Professional Ultra Cut Compound like everybody else does? I actually did some research online, and this stuff is supposed to work really good. You can see it says extra heavy cut. So I guess this it's supposed to remove fine scratches all the way up to from 1200 grit sandpaper, which is super fine. So this hopefully will work really good. It was $45 at Advance Auto, and the teller behind the camera, I went up to buy it, didn't say anything, and he goes, 45 bucks? That's ridiculous. And he gave me 15 bucks off. So I got it for 30 bucks, which is still a lot, but this is pretty big. It's a whole quart, 32 fluid ounces. So this will probably, hopefully it's good, and it'll last me for this project and many more. And in the research I did, they want you to use the wool pad, which is what I use on the bigger buffer. I just don't like to use that big buffer because it slings compound all over the place. If we do have to use that, I want to go outside. But I'm kind of hoping that we can do it inside here because now it's dark out. It's getting a little bit late. And I'd like to not sling Meguiar's super compound all over everything if we can. It says to shake well. So I actually spent like 30 seconds before this shaking. All right, I did a little bit more than what I showed. And it says to apply it directly to a wool pad. I don't know if this is one of those things where a little bit goes a long way or not. And what the hell? We'll do a small inconspicuous area. I'll do the bottom half, and we'll see if this makes a difference. I really hope so, because I don't feel like doing this anymore, if I'm being honest. Now it said in the instructions 1500 to 2500 RPMs. Hopefully we can do it with lower RPMs. This thing will go faster, but again, I'm really trying to not sling this stuff all over the place. Oh, I don't know, man. It looks pretty much the same. Well, guys, this is not going the way that I had planned. The whole point of the second channel and these short videos is supposed to be so that I can do, get content up quicker for you guys and kind of keep you in the loop with what's going on. This is turning into a nightmare project. I don't know if I call it a nightmare, but it is definitely the plastic is the issue because, like I said, the Prime kit worked on other kits or on other pieces of plastic, and now I've tried a few methods that I've already used successfully in the past on plastic, and for whatever reason, it's not working on this. I went maybe another hour off camera with the little polishing gun at full RPM, and that thing spins super fast. So it's not the RPMs. For whatever reason, this just doesn't want to come up. So in a last-ditch effort, I'll show you guys what it looks like. It's very nice and smooth finish. So like again, I don't see any imperfections. Up here, it's super glossy. It was glossy like that from the factory. I don't know why just the side panel had the imperfections, but I'm going to go ahead and try the prime polishing wheel again. And maybe after all of the buffing and polishing that we did with the compounds and everything, now the buffing wheel will take care of it. If that doesn't do it, I'm not really sure where we're going to go from there. It's a little frustrating because, you know, the whole point of buying the new plastics was because I didn't want to be doing any plastic restorations. I'm not very good at plastic restorations, if you couldn't tell. And but you know, just the nature of the beast, man. It's not like it's a part that you can just go to Walmart and buy it off the shelf. And again, I do appreciate the company where it came from for sending a second piece, and also for putting in the effort. You know, they tried to buff it themselves. He was the guy that I talked to on the phone. I think his name was Martin. He was like, "Yeah, man, I have a special compound that I want to put on this, and we're going to buff it up so that it looks like brand new for you." And then he called me. It was like a couple weeks. I was like, "Why is this taking so long?" And it's probably because he was spending a little bit of time here and there. Like, you know what, I'm going to knock this out. And the same thing was happening to him. And then finally one day he called me. He's like, "I don't really know why it's like this or what the deal is, but we're going to send you the second one, no charge. And, you know, hopefully you can get it polished up yourself." So let me spray this real quick, and then I'm just going to go ham with the prime wheel. Damn it. You know, it actually looks like it's coming up. This bottom section here is what I did. You can see the rest of this is real hazy. I think we're getting somewhere. I mean, it is getting glossy, but it seems like I'm doing an excessive amount here to get that gloss, and it's still not perfect. And it's not even either. I mean, I'd have to spend a lot of time on this thing. I'm going to give it a quick go with Plastex, and I'm just going to do it by hand with a fresh microfiber, and see if maybe that, in those new areas that we just created, at least a little bit of gloss, see if that will make it look like new. Oh, it's actually looking pretty good. It's looking really glossy in this area. That's that area. I don't know if you saw the time lapse, but it basically, I don't know. I spent like 10 minutes just going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth in that area. And that looks pretty good. Up here is where the haze is. And that's where the decal is going to go. So I don't really think we're going to have a problem because nobody will know that it's under there. And is that going to bother me? No, not at all. But the thing is, you know it's under there. And I know that it's probably going to bother some of you guys because you have OCD. Okay? So it's not me. You're the problem here. So we're going to have to just polish the whole damn thing. Like I got all night or something. Guys, I'm getting kind of frustrated with this, I'm not going to lie. I thought this was going to be a quick 1-2 punch, knock it out kind of job, and make an update video for you guys on the Z400. But anyways, we're going to go back to our roots. I've got the high-speed polisher, man, the way that I used to do it back in the day. And, you know, high speed always gets the job done because when in doubt, throttle it out. We know that's the way to do it. So, yeah, I got the plastic tied down as good as I can. That's been the main issue, like I said. Getting this thing fixed has kind of been weird, but this should work pretty good. I have it bungee corded. It's not super tight. It can still move around, but it's tight enough that it won't fly off the table. And in an effort to prevent friction, because this thing's going to be moving around and stuff, put some painter's tape down at all the contact points, and then up here where the strap runs through. We don't want to damage the plastic at all. And I'm just going to put my headphones in and just kind of go to town on this thing. Get that bastard up to probably like 1,500, 2,000 RPMs, and just sling rubbing compound all over the place, man. It's going to be awesome, but I guarantee you, The plastics, they'll look like this, man. The way that they should have looked, because I literally bought them brand new. Just what the heck.
Right about now, I started thinking to myself, why is it that I'm up past midnight on a Friday night polishing a piece of plastic for a 20-year-old sport quad that nobody really cares about? I started to think about food and eating and how I'd rather be doing anything else but this. And it was at that moment that I realized I was willing to die to have my fresh, shiny Z400 plastics to complete my brand new pre-owned historic sport quad.
Guys, I know I said that I would die trying to get our shiny LTZ 400 plastic, but we might have to accept defeat here. I have tried everything. We're going on 5 hours total time messing with these damn things today. I have come to the conclusion that I think these are actually faulty plastics. Like, I think this really is a bad batch from Suzuki. So these are both brand new fenders. Well, they were when I received them. This is the one that was my fail-safe. And this is what really brought me to the conclusion. So after literally trying every single method that I know to bring plastics back to life and not getting anywhere, it always comes back to this like hazy spot. And it sucks that, again, in these videos, like, it really just doesn't show you exactly the defects and stuff, but it would always go back to that phase. No matter how good I got it, like, it would go back to that. So on this one that was still relatively shiny, so what I did is I took this over to the prime wheel, and this is the very last step, the number 2 buffing wheel. So this is after 2000 grit, using the number 1 wheel with a buffing compound, and then this is the very last step that brings up the super high gloss. I just ran that in the middle here, and it actually scuffed it. It's less shiny where the part where we used the buffing wheel. So I think this plastic is like super soft, and really, really soft plastics are. I did a bunch of research too. I've been looking. Really, really soft plastics are like almost impossible to polish. I'm sure we could do it. We got it a little shiny, and I had the only results that I could get are down here, and that was with the torch, and that's really not the right way to shine and restore plastics. And the biggest thing with what I'm doing here is I'm spending all this time polishing it, and if the plastic really is that soft, then it's just going to get scuffed up immediately, and only this one panel, because all the other ones seem to be okay. I think what happened is, in shipping, literally this packing that it came in, I think the reason that it's all shiny around the edges and whatnot, but not here in the center, I think it literally got scuffed up just in shipping from packing. Like, that's how sensitive and soft the plastic is. So I do think that something is actually wrong with these. Long-winded response, I know. I'm just at my wit's end here. It is after midnight on a Friday night, and I'm just like, what the hell? I even tried the freaking toothpaste method. This is like a internet hack, like free mod kind of deal. Toothpaste has like a really fine grit in it. And I thought that because it's soft, maybe like the finest grit that I could use would be able to bring the shine back. But at the end of the day, we're still in the predicament of, if these are a bad batch of plastics, I wouldn't want to use them anyways, even if we can get them glossy right now. So I think the thing that sucks the most, though, is one, that I paid for these brand new. So, I mean, I shouldn't have to do this. But the other thing is, we got the wheels today. That was the last piece of this project that I've been waiting for, so that we could commence with D-Day and build the quad. And now we're in another scenario where we need a freaking piece to finish the damn thing. We can't finish the quad with a missing side panel, and I really don't want to use one non-glossy side panel. For the scale of restoration that we're doing here, it has to be perfect. So I'm going to have to figure it out. If you guys have dealt with this in the past, let me know in the comment section below if you have an idea of why they're like this or how I could fix it. Short of putting a coat of gloss clear on it, which is, I don't want to do that. That is not bringing the, I just don't want to go that route. I just don't know how to bring the shine back to OEM. And I'm not a pro, so, maybe there is something that I'm missing here. I'm afraid that if I order another one of those, that one's going to come in messed up too. And they didn't exactly come in quick shipping, because I think they came straight from Japan. Very frustrating. Anyways, let's switch to a more positive note. and go with the update on the Z400, which was primarily what we were supposed to be doing here. I made these custom frame decals. These are just like the OEM ones. I could not find the OEM part number for these. So I made them in Adobe Illustrator and then sent them to graphics producer, and they printed them out. Looks just like OEM. I'm really stoked about that. And if you come around the other side, it's the specification plate. So, or info plate. I'm not really actually sure what this is called, but you can see it even has like the idle speed. It has the valve lashes. This is what comes on the OEM frame. And again, I couldn't find this anywhere. So I had to reproduce that and then get it printed. And I believe it or not, it took me like 4 hours to do this, to get all the spacing right and to identify the font, put the little Suzuki logo there. It is just like the OEM one. I have to give you guys a huge shout out because that tiny print, I couldn't find any pictures online to get what that decal said. And I put up a post on Instagram, and within 20 minutes, I had I would say probably a good 15 or 20 people sent me pictures of their OEM stickers and even sent measurements of the size of the stickers so that I could replicate them perfectly. So, and also thank you to graphics producer who printed them out. They did the graphics also. I think I've showed these before. They look really, really good. Like I said, this side, perfectly good. Got a little bit of some buffing compound all over everything, but whatever. And yeah, there's the warning decals that I was showing you guys. It really is looking awesome, that blue frame. And if you guys remember, this subframe was blue when I showed it in the video, and now it's silver. They had actually made a mistake. I was looking at it and I was like, man, that would really look good silver, because the OEM Z400s that had like red frames and other whatever other color frames they offered, they always had a silver subframe. So that would be more OEM to have the silver subframe. So now it matches. I have everything bolted in place, not tight, just all the hardware and stuff is all where it needs to be. If you guys remember that huge pile of OEM parts that was covering the whole bench, this is all I have left. Everything else is populated. So a ton of work getting all that stuff in place, but it's going to make the build process much, much quicker. Engine parts are all laid out. I'm in the process of building the engine. I really had wanted to get to work on that today. Like I said, I didn't think this was going to take that long. Here's the bottom end. The cases are together, no problem at all. I was a little worried. People were complaining that I used the repaired cases. Oh my gosh, that's not going to work. It's going to work just fine. The transmission and everything rolls nice and free. Crank rolls nice and free. That was the only thing I was a little concerned with. All of that welding, that maybe, the transmission and stuff, because that can cause warping. But it came together really nice. And you can see, man, like once all this stuff is populated, the engine cover's on there, the cylinder, and it's in the frame. It's one of those things that you probably won't notice too much. And it's a scar, man. It adds character. Plus, once this chain cover is on there, it's going to look really good. This is the original one. I just sanded it and painted it. I found a paint that is very close to the OEM Suzuki, but that's going to look really nice on the engine. I actually can't wait to get this thing built. It's going to look really cool with this titanium blue cover. We've got the side covers here with a little bit of bronze. Same thing on the other side. Water pump is bronze. I just think it's going to pop really nice. We've got a billet basket for the clutch. Otherwise, everything is stock. The cylinder is fresh. That's the original cylinder, but you can see the bore looks like brand new. I sent that off to Millennium and got new Nicosil coating in there. The head was rebuilt by Power Sports Nation. That is ready to rock and roll. Thing is literally like brand new, but that's the head from the 03, dude. I really like to use the original stuff. So the engine, I think, is all from the 03. We had to replace a lot of the parts, like the frame and stuff is actually from the 05 because the stuff from the 03 was just totally wasted. So that's what's been going on in the shop. Since we got the wheels back, I'll be heading to Matt's place, the Mechanical Hulk, and we'll put the tires on those rims. And then basically, I think we can probably start the whole D-Day process, and that one side panel will just be missing. And hopefully by the time we get to that, I'll have a new one in the mail or figure out what is going on with those. But in the meantime, we're going to stay happy. and smile. Remember to give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and also consider subscribing. And check out the main channel, Michael Sabo, if you're not already, where you can see the in-depth build of this 2003 LTZ400. It looked like crap when we first got it. I will see you guys in the next video. I love all you guys. Peace out. We're going to get this thing done. Don't worry. And it's going to be perfect.